Hi guys and welcome back. I am Priscilla Moy and we are live here on The Hot Seat where I'm introducing to you to amazing locals here in town that do some amazing things and have an amazing story. Our first guest is an actress who then went to law school and then now is back in the acting game. So some of you might know her, some of you might have seen her. So everyone please welcome Mary Kauffman. Hi, welcome. Please take a seat.
Yes.
So hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the Hot Seat.
Hi,
It's our first time meeting.
Yes, first time meeting.
Yeah.
Very glad to be here, though.
I hope you're not nervous.
No.
Thank you for sitting here on the hot seat and talking to us about all of your amazing achievements. So first and foremost, we were talking a little bit off camera when we did go to break, and Mary Kauffman, like that's technically your stage name.
It is my stage name, yes.
Yes, so put that out there. Like she's a queen, she's of multiple identities, a Hannah Montana. I'm just kidding. But you're originally from Detroit, Michigan.
I am from Detroit, Michigan.
You're a Midwest girl.
Yeah, I am a Midwest girl, so I do say Detroit, but I am actually from a suburb of Detroit, Grosse Pointe, Michigan. I think if people are fans of John Cusack, they might know from Grosse Pointe Blank. Yeah, there was some that was filmed there, but it was mostly not filmed in Grosse Pointe, but there was a little bit that was. So that's how most people know it. But yeah, very, very nice, very quiet suburb. I went to school there. I was raised there, and then I went to Hope College, which is on the west side of Michigan. And then I spent some time in London, England for a year because I thought I wanted to get my law degree in England, but then that didn't necessarily work out. So I came back. I got a second bachelor's degree in paralegal studies. And during that time, I actually did start acting in Michigan. I started doing local things there. I actually did a film in Michigan that was filmed where I went to camp growing up. And when I filmed that, I actually adopted a cat that was on that farm. And that cat's still mine. She's here.
Oh, that's amazing. So she's kind of been with you since like the start.
Yeah, about 8 years, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, now you have a furry friend, and then you always share something really special with her. So I'm also from the Midwest, so that's going to be something I'm from Chicago. So I'm pretty aware of, like, Michigan and all the things up there, and it's cold.
It is cold.
It's very cold.
It's not as windy as Chicago, though.
Yeah, but now we're here. We're in a warm, sunny place, and amazing. So you technically started on the stage, right? It was theater and stage performance kind of your thing? At the beginning?
Yeah, sort of like when I was in high school, like we had to do some sort of after school activity to get credit to graduate. Okay. You could do sports, you could do sports management. I think there was also an exercise like program you could do, but you could also use theater to get those credits. And so I decided I did the winter they did the musical, and fall they did the play. The play was a bit more competitive because it's a very small school, so there were small plays, but the musical, like, more people could do it. So yeah, I was mostly in the ensemble. I never got a main part in the musicals, but I still enjoyed it very much so.
What about stage and performing really drew to you? Because I'm assuming this was more in the beginning of your love for acting when you kind of figured that out, right?
So I think it's just more I like being in front of an audience. Mainly I like I guess like sort of Lady Gaga, I live for the applause. All that. Like it just shows that, like, I think mainly because like there's a lot that goes into acting, you know, like you have to break down the scene, you have to rehearse and stuff, and I guess like getting rewarded for your hard work and doing something you truly love. I don't know, I just like felt like I always loved performing. It wasn't necessarily like anything that like I could say that I truly like could point a finger on. I just know that I always really like to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome because it kind of led you to doing everything that you do now. Yeah. And, you know, you did go to law school, you did have paralegal studies, so in a way that's a lot of speaking. It's a lot of presenting. It's a lot of being very assertive in front of people and stating your case, no pun intended. But yeah, so that's kind of, I'm assuming, where that comes from, your love for performing and things like that.
Yeah, so, and it actually, like, I realize now that, like, acting really does help, like, those who practice law as well, because obviously, like you say, you're in front of a judge and stuff, you're presenting your case, and you have to be super eloquent to get that point across. And also, like, because I thought about this, too, because I went to an acting intensive at Dream Tracks this weekend with Michael Cimino. He's an actor. I don't know if you know who he is or not, but yeah, and I talked to him about that, where I said, yeah, you know, you were on me about, like, learning how to listen while I'm acting, and I was like, yeah, you know, like, we really do listen in real life, but for some odd reason, like, it's really hard to get that into acting and stuff. Like, it's like, yeah, because you know all the lines and stuff, you know what the other person's going to say, so you have to, like, sort of make it look real, like you're hearing that stuff for the first time. Being
in the moment is definitely a skill that you have to obtain when you are training as an actor. So you did mention London, England. What about London and the UK really called to you to go for legal studies?
Yeah, it was something where I thought I really did want to live there. I always was really into the UK. I really liked watching BBC growing up, so I thought it was something I could do, and I really did feel at home there. But it is a stark contrast, and there were some things going on with my family that I might not be comfortable sharing. But it was a situation where I did have to go back. But while I was there, I did learn about myself. I do think that when you are in your early 20s, I really do think maybe at least for a year that you should get out of your hometown for a year or so, just so you can find yourself and see do I have bigger things that I'm interested in. And that's basically why I did it. I just wanted to see if there was anything that called me outside of my hometown. So.
Yeah, and it kind of fascinated you, and it kind of, if anything, it kind of was a success in a way because it did teach you more about yourself. If you really did find yourself there, and you kind of get not only getting out of your hometown, but getting out of the country and experiencing different types of people. Right.
Yeah, and especially living in a city, and I know that I think a good portion of my graduating class, that they did not stay in Grosse Pointe. They live in Chicago, New York City, Los Angeles. I think it's important for you to especially spend time in a city because it really helps cement in the world doesn't revolve around you, and you're only the only person you can count on is yourself. So I think it's really important that you get that sort of mindset, not in an aggressive way, but just sort of to sort of have a bit of experience in the real world outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Now, what kind of law really fascinates you? What law do you practice?
So what I'm sort of taking a break from practicing right now, but what I did personal injury. And I really did enjoy helping people. And I feel especially in personal injury where you're helping out people who are in a vulnerable position, they got into a car accident, lots of these people, their car was totaled, they don't have money, they have very bad medical bills, and so I just wanted to make sure that they get their justice, and so they can because they need someone to talk to these insurance companies and be able to get a decent settlement so they can get their life back on track. And that was definitely one of the more rewarding aspects. I really liked I was a very good negotiator. I really liked negotiating with the insurance adjusters where I would get the full policy limits, and it was just always, I liked calling them to tell them that they got a good settlement because they were so happy to hear that.
And when did you move to Vegas?
I moved to Vegas in June of 2020. So it was I moved during the pandemic, which was quite the experience.
Did work bring you out here, or is it just Vegas was calling you in a way?
I actually always wanted to move to Vegas. I always liked it. My dad does have a practice out here, so it wasn't like I was going in cold. And that practice is Lips and Nielsen if you have any insurance defense or business law they need. So just pulling that plug in. But yeah, I liked the temperatures. I definitely liked that it was close to LA. I think even when I was practicing law, I still sort of had in the back of my mind maybe I do want to maybe at least for fun anyway to go back to acting. So that was another.
And so that kind of probably recently came back to you because I noticed that you're all about you couldn't get rid of your love for acting.
No.
Right? The love came back. Well, always there, but then you're no, I need to decide to make this my career now. So when was that epiphany? What really drew you back into it for good?
I think it was fall of last year.
Okay.
I think I was sort of maybe it's because I was sort of in a place where it's oh, do I still want to practice law? This job isn't really working out, so what else can I do? And so I was just thinking I always liked acting, and I'm out on the West Coast. It's a bit more attainable now. So I thought that maybe I can take classes and find a job that's a bit more, along with finding a job that's more flexible. So
yeah, and it definitely is. It can be what you make of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly. And that technically led you to Dream Tracks. So I'm assuming that's how you find Dream Tracks. And you're currently in it now. I'm not really sure how the classes work, but I know some people stay for an extended amount of time, and then they'll go do a conference or an audition out in a different city, correct?
Oh yeah, I mean, some people go to the conference, some people don't. It just depends on what your main goals are. But yeah, I do like Dream Tracks. I think that Frank and the other teachers that work there really do genuinely care about their students and want us to set up a career to be a working actor. That's what I really like about them, and I like that they challenge you. So there are a few classes that are going on. I know Mondays they're actually starting an improv troupe that's debuting in the Palms. I'm not in it yet. I think maybe later on I'll probably end up joining, but don't quote me on that. But But yeah, the improv troupe is on Mondays, and then also they train you how to do auditions, which I think is very important because I still have pretty bad anxiety. I know that I'm talking to you and I'm talking on live internet right now, but yeah, I do still have some anxiety with auditions, so that class really helps. Tuesday is just a regular actors intensive, and then Wednesday today, which is I'm going right after this, I'm doing a stunt class that's taught by Jeremiah Brennan. He does actually know what he's doing. It is a really good class, and on Thursdays, it's more of the advanced classes, a master's class. They go to those too.
Yeah.
And Friday, they have the modeling class that's taught by Dawn Sullivan, who has a show here as well.
Which is kind of your connect and how you got here.
How I got that here, because I was on Dawn's show about a few weeks ago,
Yeah, and so you're not a new person on social media shows, which is great. I see a lot of people that come here and they've never seen this up before. A lot of people that don't do film, television, acting, they're on their own thing. If anything, they'll do YouTube. And this to them is very intimidating. So I'm kind of glad that for you, at least, you kind of had your feet wet a little bit on Dawn's show and then also with your classes, which is great.
Yeah, and also when I was at Hope College during my last semester, my senior year, I did take a news broadcasting class where they sort of taught you how to, read a teleprompter, how to talk about the weather. Honestly, I have so much respect for meteorologists because it's really hard because there's just there's a green screen back here that you can't see anything. Exactly. You just have to
you just remember the picture and you're like, all right, it's got to be somewhere around here. Press the sun, right?
Yeah.
So what about acting really calls to you? Why do you want to be an actor?
Well, I think it's. I know lots of people think I want to be famous. I want to be this, and sure, that'd be a very cool thing to happen, but I think I just like it because I like being able to express myself, express my emotions, because I think especially nowadays people expect you to act a certain way, they say oh, you have to be serious, you have to be positive vibes only and whatnot, and when you're acting, especially if you're doing a scene where you're angry or sad, you can truly express yourself and show a side of you that you might not normally be able to show. So I think that's one thing about acting, that it's a very rewarding part of it. And it's an extremely intimidating part of it. And I'm still not entirely there yet, but I think I'll be there soon.
And you learn a lot about yourself in the process, even playing other characters.
Yeah, because you have to really dig deep into yourself to get certain emotions out. And also these are characters sometimes I might have to play a police officer. I'm not a police officer, but I have to understand how they work so I can be a convincing character.
So what has been your biggest struggle so far that you got back into acting, even prior to you finding Dream Tracks? Has there been an overlooking struggle that you're having that you feel is going to carry with you in regards to presenting yourself as an actor?
Yeah, and we talked about this when I went to the intensive with Michael Cimino last week. He does think that I do have raw emotions, but the main thing is that I have walls. There's something inside me that's holding me back from actually truly exposing everything. And they say you have acting chops. You could definitely. You can definitely book stuff, but to be a truly amazing actress, and I mean being in major films, maybe even going to the Oscars one day, you have to figure out what's causing those walls. So that's why I think lots of actors and people in general should look into their mental health and whatnot. I actually am going to go back into therapy to see because I do want those walls down. I do want to because I think it's just good. It's good in general because there are some people who feel they can't communicate because they have trauma that's holding them back and they're too afraid to talk about that. So, and I just know it's really good to get that stuff out there, but it can be scary to talk about that stuff. So I think that's the one thing that's holding me back is just those walls.
So what goals do you have for yourself apart from you letting go as an actor and really finding, you as an actor and you in that place? What's your end goal look like for you?
I would say and I did talk about this because there was another speaker came in. I just want to be able to be in a position where I can basically make all of my living off of being an actor. And obviously, it takes lots of financial education to do that. Because especially the actors are on strike right now because they're not being paid. But hopefully, I'll be able to be in a position where I can just just live off of being an actor and doing what I love.
And would you ever return back to the stage? Or do you feel like cameras and being on sets are more of where you call home?
I'm definitely not against. I'm not against being on the stage again. I would love to do that if I could find something that works for me.
Yeah, I feel when you mentioned London at one point before you said it was for studying law, I was like, they have a really good intensive theater community out there, and all the actors that come out of the UK, majority of the time, are very theatrically trained, which makes them really strong actors even on screen.
Yeah, and honestly, if you look, because the UK has a very small acting scene because it's just super hard to break into. I know it's like who you know here, but in the UK, it's like 10 times that. It's basically like who your family was, who you know. And also you'll notice that the majority of those actors that you see, they either went to the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts or the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts. That's like, they all went to those two schools. Benedict Cumberbatch went to Lambda, Tom Hiddleston, Rada, the guy who played Eddie Munson on Stranger Things, I think he went to Lambda. Like, they all went to those schools, and they're all great actors.
Right, and they all knew each other. They're like, oh yeah, when we were younger, we were roommates one time.
Yeah.
Back in blah, 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 which, is really great. And so do you believe that there is going to be a film community here? I mean, it is what it is now, and I know it's growing, but I love hearing from actors, and you're more of the beginning stages, that take no offense, but you're getting back into it, you're finding yourself, you're finding your place. Yeah. What does it look like from your end? How do you view the film community here in Vegas?
So, like, I've only been in the film community for 6 months, but from what I've seen, because I did go to a meetup in April, it seems that once you are, like, fully immersed in, like, the culture here, like, your family, like, it seems like Frank at Dream Tracks knows everyone, and there are students at Dream Tracks who have been acting for a very long time. They all have connections, and they all know each other, so I think that there is a tight-knit group. And with Sony and Disney coming, like, allegedly, we'll see, I think it's gonna, like, it is gonna make it even bigger. And I know that lots of my friends, I know Mark Wahlberg believes in it, and while I was in Los Angeles, lots of my friends got to meet him, which is very cool. So yeah, I do think the film industry in Las Vegas is going to grow and prosper. Yeah. Because I know that there was a time in Michigan for about, I think, like 3-4 years where there was a tax incentive. So many films are coming to Michigan to film there, and that tax incentive did fall through. So that's why, and I was telling people, this is like, I've sort of been burned with these film incentives for coming to, like, a certain state. So, I mean, it's a wait-and-see approach, but I guess since Vegas is a bit different than Michigan, I do think it's more likely to happen
just a little bit, in all different little aspects. Just like a little. It's our sister, right? Just kidding. But do you plan on staying here for a while? Do you love Vegas? Do you call this home?
Oh, yes, I do call it home. And honestly, I do love it so much. And honestly, I think my dad and stepmom like it a lot, too. And they did mention, we're probably going to probably buy a property out here, maybe. We're just like, that'd be nice. So, yeah, I do think that Vegas is finally going to have its, like, resurgence.
Yeah, and what is one thing that you're learning a lot about yourself? I know you're working, on your walls, but with Dream Tracks, because you're not the only student that has come here from Dream Tracks to sit in the hot seat, but what do you take from it? What do you see Dream Tracks as for you and your career and yourself?
I see it as a place that will not only make me a better actor, but a better person. I think with the people I've spoken to there and the friends that I've made there, they are making me into a better person. So I do think that, like, Dream Tracks is like the start of something really great for me. Yeah,
because it can be intimidating when you're going into a world that everyone wants to be in, right? And there's so many moving parts in acting, because acting can then range from film, stage, commercial, TV, broadcasting, events, all this stuff, hosting even, that it's something that you never really know where to start or where it's going to go, because every single day is different, right?
Right.
But you seem like you have the right guidance that can take you to the place where you want to go.
Yeah, and Dream Tracks is honestly the first acting school that I went to, because when I was in Michigan, I didn't really, because I was in my 20s, I was broke. I was a legal assistant before I went to law school. I didn't really have the funds to take acting classes there, so I was just basically, I was basically on my own there, so I do, Dream Tracks also definitely made me a better actor because I've been taking their classes.
Yeah. Right, that's great. I'm glad to hear it. It's just a little promotion right there.
Yeah, Dream Tracks. Come Dream Tracks.
But would you ever continue doing law? Is that something that you are not going to let go, or is it always going to be a part of you, or is that something that you're trying to leave behind and pursue acting full-time?
I think it is something I'm going to leave behind. I'm very grateful for law school. I learned a lot about myself. I've made lots of really good friends in law school, and it definitely made me learn how to think outside the box, which are good experiences to have. So I don't regret law school, but I think that I'm probably not going to practice law.
Yeah, I mean, it does build, your character. You do know how to meet people, talk to people, and kind of be assertive in a way. And I think those are all very good qualities that you need to have in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And yeah, because there were definitely some students that I went to law school with where you can tell that they want to practice law. They are lawyers. It's in their blood, and I don't think I had that same drive. I think that's what I get for acting.
Yeah, they see law. They are law. They want to be law, right? That's all that it is. But there is one more question that I do ask all of my guests that do sit here, and it kind of sums up them as a person, and I love hearing their answer. Is there a motto or philosophy that you live by?
I would say it would be take it one day at a time, and never sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff.
It does eventually. The next day you wake up and be like, dang, I was really going crazy over that one thing. Really. Yeah. But thank you so much. You're a great guest. I really hope that you find your place in the acting community and you find yourself. Because once you do those things, I promise you will be able to let go. Because if you are able to let go in front of the camera, and that's the best that you can be in building any character that you're showing on there. So I really hope that for you.
I hope that too, and I'll get there.
You will. You will. Take it, like we said, one day at a time.
One day at a time, exactly.
Yeah, and focus on those struggles as they come. And I think that you will be able to withstand all the obstacles that will come your way. That. But everyone, Mary Kauffman, please tell them really quick on where to find you on social media if they want to connect.
If you want to find me on Instagram, it's Mary Kauffman. The last name is Kauffman, so it's Mary Kauffman. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We're going to be looking out for your success. I'm sure this isn't the last time that you'll be here on the network. So, Mary Kauffman, everyone, please follow her. And when we come back, we are going to meet our next amazing guest. So stay tuned for that.